Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Damodara, Radha Damodara, Radha Damodara Shri Radhe. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Madhava ki jai. Hi Krishna. I'm gonna speak in English. I think this is the verse from yesterday, no? Yeah. It's fine. If you have time, but no, we don't have time. I don't know. Because we're reading shortly. Today is the disappearance day of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. So I'll quickly read what is in the Vaishnava calendar here, since I'm not expert in glorifying this saintly Vaishnava. So, which day is today? November? Do we have November already? Yeah. Okay. This excerpt from the biography of Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, written by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami, gives clear insight into the qualifications and activities of a pure Vaishnava, devotee of Vishnu or Krishna. How can I know a Vaishnava? Is the question. Once one person approached Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji and asked, we may see many descriptions of the devotees of the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures, which are of the highest order. But these narrations do not have any real counterpart with the persons we see today who are called Vaishnavas. Sometimes we see these persons act in ways opposite of the persons described. Therefore, very mercifully instruct us as to how we can, without a doubt, identify the real devotees of the Lord. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj replied, when the desire of the devotee of the Lord is in direct conjugation with the desire of Krishna, then the compassionate pure devotee of the Lord, regardless of birth, time and place, liberates the conditioned souls. When the pure devotee of the Lord attracts the living entities by exhibiting pure love of Krishna, then the Supreme Lord, Krishna, begins to doubt as follows. Those living entities who surrender unto my devotees are as dear as myself. If I cleanse away all of their depths in this material world, then I will be in precarious situation. Those pure devotees surrendered unto me are completely dependent, and thus simply by their desire I am within their grasp. For this reason Krishna covers the eyes of the ordinary people, so they cannot realize the qualities of his pure devotee. Krishna also tests the other living entities in this way to see how attached they are to him. Those symptoms which are manifestations of Krishna's material energy are not the same symptoms which are manifest by the pure devotees of the Lord. Therefore, it is only by the independent desire of the pure devotees of the Lord that the symptoms can be seen even through the scriptures. Srila Gaur Kishore then continued, I have seen with my own eyes a devotee in Vrindavan who would perform his devotional service in a solitary place. He lived in a village just north of Radhakund. Many different persons would approach him and ask for different benefits for the removal of mental and physical distress. He would fulfill their desires and thus became famous and well known as a perfected practitioner in devotional service. He was very renounced, free from the desires of wealth, woman and prestige. He was always compassionate to the living entities and free from fault in his appearance. As it became circulated that he was of this type of character, many persons came to annoy him. Following this, the great devotees had a very wealthy man in Calcutta monthly paid a young, beautiful wife of a sweeper to sit in front of his place of worship. In this way, people would come and consider he was having illicit connections with that woman. Heavy, huh? And that he was collecting money out of greed. Other persons would come and because of their material desires not being fulfilled, would altogether reject him. This person was actually a Vaishnava. When devotees of the Lord out of compassion manifest their mercy, then the faithful persons who worship the Lord will become attracted to them. Those persons who then surrender unto the pure devotee are eventually able to attain pure devotional service. Extremely fortunate persons are able to approach Krishna by the mercy of the devotee. Otherwise, being unfortunate, the pure devotee may in some way or another act in such a way as to reject them. Sober devotees always pray to the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to become more serious, and none deviates. It is by their mercy that one is able to understand the character of the pure devotee. By the favor of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu, one's heart becomes free from all pride and becomes filled with humility. In this condition, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu manifest the identity of the pure devotee. The pure devotee's identity is manifested by Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, and then Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya make the devotees known to everyone. This is how it has been mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. End of the narration. Yeah, Srila Gorkishore Babaji was the spiritual master of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, and he was illiterate, so he couldn't read or write. And he was a Babaji, he was in renounced order of life, sitting on the holy rivers and chanting the holy names of the Lord. And his father, the father of Bhaktisiddhanta, sent his son to Gorkishore Babaji to accept him as his spiritual master, because he could see that he himself was a pure devotee, and he could see Gorkishore Babaji was a pure devotee. So it's not always easy for us to see the purity of devotees, especially of a pure devotee. It says only a pure devotee can see another pure devotee. Sometimes we criticize devotees and we say, yeah, he's doing that. No, he can't be pure devotee. He's Kanishta Adhikari. But who are we? If we're not on the platform of Uttama Adhikari, we can't make this, how you say, not decision, but judgment, yes, thank you. And when Gorkishore Babaji left his body, today, many, many years ago, then all the Babajis came and they want to have his body, to put it in their samadhi and to worship him. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was his only disciple, and he insisted, no, I want to have his body. He's my spiritual master, and I want to put him into a samadhi and worship him properly. And the Babajis, they complained, and there was a big argue. And then Bhaktisiddhanta said, okay, you can have the body of Gorkishore Babaji, but only if you didn't had any sexual relationship in the last 6 months. And then everyone was looking on the floor, and everyone was like quiet. And then he said, okay, who didn't had any sexual relationship in the last month? Nobody raised their hands. Then he asked, last week? Nobody. Yesterday? Again, nobody. So then he said, yeah, then you're not qualified to take the body of my spiritual master. So then the body went with Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. Now we can find the samadhi in Mayapur, Srila Mayapur. It's a very nice place. You can pray for the mercy of Gorkishore Babaji. Yeah, I don't have so much to say. I don't know so much. He had many stories, but Kali Yuga brain, we forget. But yeah, we should remember on this day that we will fast on elevated souls and ask and beg for their mercy, that we also get a glimpse of a drop of Krishna consciousness, at least, of this pure nectar, what is emanating from the spiritual world. Golokera Premadan Harinam Sankirtan Ki Chai. But now we read from the Srimad Bhagavatam. If I get one to read, that would be awesome. Pasha? No, I need a book to. That would be nice. Or I can read from the phone. It's also okay. Oh, yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Actually, I have it on the phone. Om Namo Bhagavate Bashun. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 23, Verse 32. I will just read the verse because there's nothing written on the blackboard, but it's fine. So we save. It's okay. Shonayo adyastaya. No. Shonyo Shronyor adastaya kantya kanchanya bahuratnaya harena charma harena ruchakena chapushitam. About her hips she wore a girdle of gold set with numerous jewels, and she was further adorned with a precious pearl necklace and auspicious substances. Purport: auspicious substances include saffron, curcuma, and sandalwood pulp. Before taking a bath, there are other auspicious substances, such as turmeric mixed with mustard seed oil, which are smeared all over the body. All kinds of auspicious substances were used to bathe Devotee from top to toe. I read the other verse also. Sudata supravas lakshna snikta pangena chakshusha padma kosha spridana ilai alaika shala sanmukham. Her countenance shone with beautiful teeth and charming eyebrows. Her eyes distinguished by lovely, moist corners. Defeated the beauty of the lotus buds. Her face was surrounded by dark, curling tresses. Purport: according to Vedic culture, with teeth, white teeth are very much appreciated. Devahuti's white teeth increased the beauty of her face and made it look like a lotus flower. When a face looks very attractive, the eyes are generally compared to lotus petals, and the face to a lotus flower. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Banjo Chagatpade Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate. Sorry. Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpada Rupyascha Kripa Sindhubevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktarinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class in Sridham Simhachalam. Yeah. If I would ask you now what you would say about this purport, maybe you have some ideas. It's very difficult to speak about Devahuti's beauty and her white teeth looking like lotus buds, even more beautiful than lotus buds. Yes? Too fast? Maybe. It says even the weapon of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to defeat the demons in Kali Yuga is his beauty. So we're all very attracted to beauty. It's a very important aspect in art, paintings. If you see the nature, the sun, sunrise, sunset, very beautiful, and the sun is darkish red or orange, and the sky emanates with this orange light. It's very attractive. Or to go to the mountains and you see from when I lived in South Africa, Cape Town, Table Mountain, one of the 7 world wonders. You go on the mountain and you see whole Cape Town and the ocean, and it's a very beautiful sight. Actually, it was quite funny when I went there. It's not often that devotees go there because they know this place, but we went there and there's some gondol. You go up, like a lift. And we went inside, and all of a sudden 20 brahmachari came from the Gaudiya Math, who were one day in South Africa. They made a world tour. And exactly at that moment, we were in the same lift. And it was interesting because there's no brahmacharis in Cape Town, and I was like, where come the brahmacharis from? So Krishna is everywhere. Krishna is, all attractive. And we talked with them. They came from Delhi, New Delhi, and they have a Gaudiya Math temple near our ISKCON temple, and have a nice conversation, and spent some time on Table Mountain. Anyways, it was just on the side. But we enjoy beauty. So why is that? Because the soul wants to imitate Krishna. We like to be beautiful. We like to be rich. We like to be famous. We like to be wealthy. Rich, we said. Maybe we don't like so much to be renounced. It's one of the attributes of Krishna. But he's the most famous, the most beautiful, the most wealthiest, with the most knowledge, the most renounced, and always forget one. Yeah, thank you. And he's the strongest. So we also want to be that. Why are we going into cinema and watching movies? The superhero saves the day, gets the girl in the end, and we identify with this. We want to be the superhero. We want to practically be like Krishna. Because why not? Krishna is amazing, But that's the reason why we're in this material world. Because we want to be Krishna. We want to be the controller, and we want to be the enjoyer. Somebody of you know maybe Elvis Presley. And then it's sometimes this cheap Elvis Presley imitators. We're these cheap Krishna imitators trying to show off in the material world. Try to exploit the material world. But for what? For a little bit suffering and happiness? Because what is happiness? Huh? So-called happiness. Why is it so-called happiness? What is happiness for you? Temporary. Some other suggestions. What is happiness in the material world without Krishna? Sweet rise with sand. Yeah, that's a nice example. Happiness is removal of pain. It's the opposite. Like you remove the pain and you feel happy. Like now it's winter time, we feel cold, so we dress warm, we turn on the heating. Today in the morning I came in the temple room, heating on 5, very hot inside. So this was my pain, it was too hot. I had to open the windows, get some fresh air. Then we are thirsty, we are hungry, so we eat, we drink. So we always have to do something to be happy. So most of the time we have to remove our unhappiness, our distress, our pain, to find some little pleasure. But this is just a little bit sense gratification, some temporary enjoyment, not lasting. And this is said in the material world, the most enjoyable situation would be if Yudhishthira Maharaj wouldn't have fight. It's described in the Upanishads. If he wouldn't have fight against the Kauravas, there was no war of Kurukshetra, and Yudhishthira would be the king, and everyone would be happy, and there was no quarrel, no fighting. That would be the most pleasure you can get in this planet Earth, not in the material world. In this planet Earth. It would be the highest pleasure for a king, so to say, because Yudhishthira Maharaj had everything. Son of Dharmaraj. And then the next highest pleasure would be the pleasure of King Indra, to be the king of the demigods and the heavenly planets. That would be the next best enjoyment you can get. And then you have the Gandharvas, the enjoyment of the Gandharvas, heavenly beings who can fly, sing very beautifully. Then you go on the planets of the rishis and the saints, where you self-realized, Atmaram, you experience pleasure from within. But then even higher is you go to Satyaloka, to Brahmaloka, you experience the pleasure of Lord Brahma, whose body is made out of intelligence, who created practically the whole universe. He's the best of all of us Elvis imitators. He also, of one sense, imitated Krishna. He's the creator. He created the material world, so to say. But also Brahma is not independent. When Brahma came, in the beginning, he appeared, and all of a sudden, out of a lotus flower, he's Acha, he's unborn. Nowadays we have, it's not, there's no being unborn. Maybe Jesus Christ, they say he's, how I say, unbefleckt, don't know in English. But kind of, no, he's born, he's born, but there was no sexual interaction. But Brahma, he came out of the lotus navel of Lord Vishnu. And Brahma, when he was here, he was very bewildered. He didn't know where to go, what to do, why I'm here, what's going on here. Everything is dark. So he looked left, he looked right, he looked forward, he looked up and down. And then he created 4 heads to look in all 4 directions. And he didn't know what to do. And then he heard these syllables, tapa, tapasya. So Brahma performed tapasya. And at one point he could hear Krishna's flute. And the Gopal Gayatri mantra was revealed to him. And this Gayatri mantra is so powerful, he created the whole universe. So, but yeah, we were attracted to these attributes of Bhagavan. To be rich, to be strong. Everyone wants to be strong. Men are going in the workout, fitness studio, and showing off their muscles, and also to protect women, to protect family. It's important. Everyone wants to be strong. You want to be rich. Nobody wants to be poor. To remove more suffering. You want to be famous. Like nowadays we have all the Hollywood stars, the demigods of Kali Yuga, getting worshipped. And when I was young, I also wanted to be like, wow, I want to be like. Can't remember whom I liked, but yeah, like it was like impressing. They were like famous. Everyone worshipped them, and they were rich. They had all the girls and were in the movies and yeah. Knowledge. I mean, devotees, we would like to know a lot. We read a lot. Imagine you know everything. And actually the soul knows everything. We are Sat Chit Ananda, Chit, conscious, full of consciousness, full of awareness. We are emanating, our soul is emanating consciousness. So when we go deep inside us, when we feel, when we go in meditation, we see our body, we see our mind. But we are the awareness actually, with the consciousness. We can realize we're not the body, we're not the mind, we are spirit soul. Yeah, tapasya, maybe to be renounced, is not so much wanted in the material world. But for us, if you think about it, to have everything, but you're still detached. You don't care if it's in the next day it's gone, you will be detached, and you will be happy. Like Krishna, he has all the universes, he has everything. But in the same time, he's aloof from it, he's detached. Yeah. We're reading now from Devotee, her beauty, and she's the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. And when I thought about the glass, I thought, what can I talk about? And in my mind came Dhruva Maharaj, because Dhruva's father was also the son of Swayambhuva Manu, Uttanapad. And maybe some of you know the story of Dhruva Maharaj, but it's actually Dhruva Maharaj's story and the story of Prahlad Maharaj were the famous story of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And also Srila Prabhupada writes, everyone who hears and understands the story and believes in it of Dhruva Maharaj, he will become a pure devotee in this lifetime. So the story of Dhruva Maharaj was his son, his brother Uttama, or Uttamana, can't remember. He was sitting on the lap of his father Uttanapad, and then Dhruva Maharaj also wanted to sit on his lap. So he tried to climb on his lap, but the father, he was a little bit rejecting him, and Dhruva Maharaj got very disturbed. And then the mother of Uttamana, anyways, we can read it, we can figure it out later. Yeah, let me speak first. Thank you for correcting me to a glass. Hare Krishna. And the brother of Dhruva Maharaj, Uttamana, the mother of Uttamana, Suruchi, she told Dhruva Maharaj, what you're doing, you can't sit on the lap of your father. You're not worth. She said, you should go in the forest and you should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if you're lucky, you take birth in the next time you take birth in my womb. So proud she was. Go worship Krishna, and if you're lucky, you can take birth in my womb, and then you can sit on your father's lap. Wow. Impressive how proud someone can be. Anyways, then Dhruva Maharaj, he was very upset. He was just 5-year-old boy, and he was like enraged. He was like really angry, and he left. He went to his mother, Suniti, and yeah, he told his mother what happened, and he was he was frustrated. He cried, and he said, "Yeah, I will leave my father. I will leave this kingdom. I don't want to be here. My father don't want me." And so he wanted to go, and then his mother, she advised him, "Why not go to the forest? Like you worship." First, she talked about the demigods, about all the benefits, but the highest worship is the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And she advised him to go to the forest and meditate about Krishna. So Dhruva Maharaj, he was on the way to go to the forest, and he met Narada Muni. Narada Muni, he is Trikalakya, he knows past, present, and future. And Narada Muni, he advised Dhruva Maharaj. He said, go in the forest, worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I will give you a special mantra for it. This mantra, 12-syllable mantra, we chant every time before Srimad Bhagavatam class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Very important mantra. Yeah, and he went into the forest and he was chanting this mantra. And Narada Muni, he described him, there's all kinds of worship, like worshipping with Deepa, Dupa, with incense, with ghee lamp, with chamara. There's all kinds of external worship. But if you don't have anything, it's fine. You can worship the Lord also with mantra, or you meditate about all the paraphernalia. It's also fine. And Prabhupada writes in the purport that the deity worship of Krishna is actually very liberal. We do it very external on the altar and everything, but you can worship Krishna in your heart. You don't need to worship him external. If you don't have anything, imagine you sit in a prison cell, you have nothing. You can still do deity worship. You can still worship Krishna. So Narada Muni advised Dhruva Maharaj to go in the forest and to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Dhruva, he was in the first 3 days, he was standing, his meditation was to stand, and in the first 3 days, in the first month, he was only eating, every third day, he was eating some fruits and berries, or some roots and berries, I think, yeah. So very austere. Then in the second month, I think he ate every 6th day. Then, I think in the third month, fourth month, something, he lived only from prana. He took a breath every 12th day. He took one breath, and then he lived for 12 days. Quite amazing. We're also doing pranayama later, and we do some breath hold, but it's maybe couple of seconds. Sanatana Goswami in Hari Bhakti Vilas even describes you should breathe doing japa when you chant. You should breathe in for 16 mantras. You chant 16 mantras, you breathe in. Then you hold the breath for 64 mantras, and you breathe out for 32 mantras. So that means one round is one breath. I don't know if we can do it in this lifetime, but now imagine every 12th day, take a breath. And then in the 5th or 6th month, Dhruva Maharaj started to stand on one leg. His meditation was to stand on one leg and chant the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And his determination was so strong, he was able to close all the exits, all the holes, like nose, eyes, ears, genitals, anus. So he closed all the holes where prana can go out, and he accumulated all this power, all this prana, all this energy in himself. And he came so far that he merged actually with the Brahman, with the universe, and later he merged kind of with Vishnu. So he was very close to have darshan from Lord Vishnu, and he already kind of saw Lord Vishnu in his heart. And his meditation, his tapasya was so strong that the whole universe was like trembling, because he got all the mystic perfection, and one of the perfections is that he becomes heavier than the heaviest. So he was so heavy that it was too heavy for Mother Earth. So he disturbed the whole energy field, like Akash of the universe. So then the demigods became very fearful, and he went to Lord Vishnu. and told him, please help us, this Dhruva Maharaj, he will destroy the whole universe. Maybe you can stop him. And yeah, Lord Vishnu says, no worries, I arranged everything, I will appear, I will clarify the situation, don't worry. So Lord Vishnu, he manifested himself. So first Dhruva Maharaj saw Lord Vishnu in his heart, and then all of a sudden he had darshan of Lord Vishnu. So Vishnu appeared. And it said Dhruva Maharaj, when he saw Lord Vishnu, he was drinking his beauty with his eyes. He took darshan, he was drinking it with his eyes. And he kissed the lotus feet of the Lord with his lips. And he embraced the Lord with his arms. And Dhruva Maharaj, because he was only 5 years, he was not really knowledgeable yet. He didn't know how to compose nice verses or glorification to Lord Vishnu. So he didn't know really what to say, but in his own words, he spoke some nice glorification and prayers for the Lord. You can read in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's very beautiful. And he always also described the beauty of the Lord, the beauty of his lotus-like face, of his red lips, white teeth, but his white teeth are so shining that it reflects the red lips of his, the red of his lips. And he described the garments he wore, the earrings, the hair, everything is emanating all this energy coming from Lord Vishnu, all this transcendental love and happiness and ananda, what he experienced, he describes and glorified the Lord. And before he glorified the Lord, he didn't know how to glorify the Lord. And then Lord Vishnu, because he was in his heart, he knew what is in his mind, he touched him with his conch shell. Ding. And then all of a sudden, Dhruva Maharaj, he became completely spiritualized. And then he started glorifying Lord Vishnu. So imagine Lord Vishnu appears in front of you. At least you should know one shloka, one verse, maybe from the Brahma Samhita, whatever. What if Krishna appears today? And you can't glorify him. You don't know anything to say. You don't know any glorification. Except when Krishna appears, or Vishnu, then you should first glorify him. And then after, you praise him. And then you ask him for prayer. And also sometimes we pray to Krishna, maybe we pray to Lord Vishnu. So we also approach him. He's also in front of us. Whenever we turn to him, Krishna is here. Maybe we can't see him, but he is there. So maybe we should try next time before we pray to first glorify the Lord. Find some nice prayers. And if you don't know any prayers, if you don't know Sanskrit, if you're struggling with remembering some prayers or with struggling with this pronunciation or whatever, then compose your own prayer at least. Of course, it's recommended to always follow the acharyas, and there's so many nice, wonderful prayers to the Lord. I mean, the whole Bhagavatam is full of it. But you can also at least have your own glorification. I mean, now we have the month of Damodar, we have the Damodar Astakam, we can read. Whatever, you find some beautiful glorification of the Lord. And then you ask the Lord for blessings. And one important point I forgot. Dhruva Maharaj, he went in the forest because he wanted to get a benediction. It was not like he went to the forest because he wanted to see the Lord. He went to the forest because he wanted to have a kingdom what is greater than the kingdom of his grandfather. Who is the grandfather of Lord Dhruva Maharaj? Yeah, actually, the great-grandfather even. Lord Brahma. Sorry, Dhruva Maharaj is the grandfather, yeah. Right. The great-grandfather was Lord Brahma, father of Swayambhuva Manu. And Lord Brahma, he has the material universe. He's the creator. But he wanted to have a kingdom greater than the kingdom of Lord Brahma. How? How can it be? Then Lord Vishnu appeared, and Dhruva Maharaj praised him, and then Lord Vishnu, he gave him the benedictions. And Lord Vishnu, he gave him a kingdom greater than the kingdom of Lord Brahma. So which kingdom Lord Dhruva got? What do you think? Shvetadvip. Yeah, Shvetadvip is the pole star. How is it in English? Pole star? You can see the pole star sometimes. This is the residence of, Polarstern. This is, how to say it, the Vaikuntha planets, the spiritual world in the material world. So when the whole material universe is destroyed, then this planet will be still there. This is spiritual world, Svetadvip. It's the residence of Lord Vishnu. So Vishnu gave Dhruva Maharaj Svetadvip. He will be the king, the ruler of Svetadvip. So Dhruva Maharaj attained actually a kingdom greater than the kingdom of Lord Brahma. And Dhruva Maharaj was like very upset. He was not happy about the situation. After Vishnu left, he was very dissatisfied. And why he was dissatisfied was because he asked Krishna, the benediction, what he wanted was material enjoyment. Like, he describes it with glass, like shattered glass. But actually what he got was a jewel, like a diamond. He got Krishna, he got darshan of Krishna. And then he realized that this material hankering he was wishing for out of anger and frustration with his stepmother and with his father and with his family situation, he desired a kingdom greater than the kingdom of Brahma. But then at the end he had darshan of Krishna. Yeah. So for us, it's also, sometimes we have material desires. Maybe we also desire a kingdom greater than the kingdom of Lord Brahma. Can be. But the story of Dhruva Maharaj shows that even though we have material desires, Krishna, he will fulfill them, and even he will give you more. And in the end, when you get them, you will realize, actually, I don't want them anymore. Because we have already the jewel. We have already Krishna. We're already sitting in front of Lord Nishingadev. What Dhruva Maharaj did in 6 months, we can do every day. To go to Mangalarati, to worship the Lord, to see the Lord. And of course, our eyes are covered. We can't always see the Lord because he vibrates in a different dimension. But the key to see the Lord in other yugas, of course, was meditation, yoga, pranayama, all these austerities, deity worship, yagyas. But in Kali Yuga, it's the chanting of Hare Krishna. And for us devotees, this is the most important activity. Everything else we do, the cleaning of the temple, cooking prasadam, associating, kirtan, programs, and so on, only serves us that we can chant properly Hare Krishna. So the entry to Nam Ruchi, that we chant purely the holy names of Lord, is devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. So that at least at first we hear Shravanam, we praise Krishna, Kirtanam, with our words, with kirtan, with japa. We remember Krishna, worship his lotus feet, we offer him prayers, and so on. We serve him, we having friendship, and Atma Nivedanam, we offer everything to Krishna. And as long as we don't chant purely the holy name, we also can't see Krishna. We can't go back if we chant 16 rounds, sleeping and tired and interrupted by social media and by Prachalpa and other stuff. It's not possible to attain love of God like this. But Prabhupada, he is the back key to the spiritual world. He says if we follow the 4 regulative principles and if we chant Hare Krishna, we will go back to Krishna in this lifetime. But still, that doesn't mean I can chant Hare Krishna now and Krishna Krishna Ram 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 and I've spent 2 hours on my phone and I will think I will go back to Krishna, even though Srila Prabhupada said it is still an endeavor of us. We still have to chant purely the holy name. And for me, entrance to see the Lord is, for example, you go on book distribution, you distribute a lot of books the whole week, and you come back and you purified and you see the Lord. But also if I go out there and I distribute nothing and I struggled the whole week and I suffered, I got so much purified, I come back and I see the Lord and somehow the Lord looks different. Somehow the Lord is like kind of vibrating and it's like some heat is emanating from him and Or if you surrender, there's a festival and you stay 10 hours a day in the kitchen and you have to cook like anything and clean the pots, and you don't want to be there anymore. You want to go also to the kirtan. You also want to go and enjoy the festival. But you can't because you have to serve. You have to serve the devotees. Such a pity. But then at one point you change your consciousness. You think like, oh, actually, I have the mercy. I can do service. And then you come into the festival for just a moment, for a minute, and you hear the holy name and your whole body is like vibrating, and you can feel actually, wow, this is actually the entrance to see the Lord, the entrance in the spiritual world. So we should be like Dhruva Maharaj. We do some austerities. We perform whatever we can. Even though our motivation is not pure enough, if we still have some material desires, that's okay. We're not pure devotees now. So in the material body, we have so many different lifetimes. We're looking for material pleasure. We still are cold in the winter and we're still hungry and we still try to remove our pain to finding some pleasure. That's completely okay. Or when we go on book distribution, we still want to have a goal, distribute that and that amount of books, whatsoever. Get some recognition in our service, whatever we do. Yeah, we get purified. And at one point, we will stay there like Dhruva Maharaj, and we realize the whole time we had Krishna, but we were looking for something material, temporary. And then we will give up the material enjoyment, and we realize that we are devotee of the Lord, and that we only thing we want is to serve Krishna. The goal of Krishna consciousness is service to Krishna. You achieved it, the perfection of life. So Krishna Bhakti. What we're praying for, what we're doing here is to serve Krishna. We want to go in the spiritual world to serve Krishna. But like the Elvis imitators, we have to first imitate, to associate with devotees, to serve Krishna, to get purified, to get some taste. And at one point we will be eligible to also enter Goloka Vrindavan. After this lifetime, we will go into the Bhoma Lila of Lord Krishna in one of the universes, and we will be a Gopa or Gopi, and we get the last, how you say, Schliff, den letzten Schliff, the last cut that we, polishment, because now we can't go back to Krishna like this. But first we have to get in the association of devotees, of pure devotees. Yeah. So this should be our goal. In next life, we will take part of Krishna Lila. What is not different from the spiritual world. Maybe even better, because in the Krishna Lila, Krishna is still a small boy. In the spiritual world, he's always Kaishore, he's always 16 years old boy. But in the Bhoma Lila, he is also Damodar, Poganda age, and yeah. So, when I end the class now, we should just think about Dhruva Maharaj, remember him. Yeah, we should hanker for something big and then get purified and realize that we're going after broken glass, but we have already the black diamond, Krishna. Any questions or comments or reflections? Yes, Sanjay Prabhu? Okay, the question is if we also have to go to this process like Dhruva Maharaj, that we need to think big and desire something big, See the rest in English? Was a long question. Yeah, if we become more aware of our spiritual potential, do we have to still have to also have the desires, material desires, something think big? And no, you don't have to. I mean, why? We have Krishna already, like I said. But even if you have material desires still, it's better than you worship demigods, better than worship demigods. You turn directly to Lord Krishna and get purified. Like Dhruva Maharaj, he was praying Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and he performed pranayama and austerities and meditation and tapasya, and this is not easy, but he connected it with the Lord. So even if you have desire, if you want to have a new car, you want to have a new house, it's not devotional service, but at least you can connect it with Krishna. But shouldn't be our motivation now that we chant for material, pleasure. But even if there is something, like Prabhupada said to the hippies on the beginning, they were drinking alcohol, wine, and then Prabhupada said, if you drink wine, it's also, Krishna says, Rasuham Apsukantiya, I am the taste in water. So wine is also Krishna. He's also the taste in the wine. So then he told this person, yeah, if you drink wine, you offer it to Krishna. Because Prabhupada knew he will get purified because he remembers Krishna. He could have said, no, you can't drink wine, it's completely forbidden. No, it's like, you go to hell, you can't offer this to God, no way. Maybe, medically speaking, from scriptures, maybe that's the way you should do it. But if you really want to elevate someone, if you really want to engage someone in devotional service, you always tell them, always remember Krishna and never forget him. So even if you have the material desire, connect it with the Lord. Yes?
What came to my mind when you asked this question was, Dhruva Maharaj was born in a family of the king. And then of course you think, and he was a Kshatriya, and of course you think that, there's nothing but a kingdom for himself. So, but when we are born in a Shudra family and we think of a kingdom, we always dissatisfied because this wish will never be fulfilled.
That's true.
You can work as hard as you want.
Yeah. That's true, yeah, thank you. Good point. Anything else?
And also, Dhruva Maharaj was really very, when Vishnu appeared in front of him, and he left again, he was so dissatisfied about his wish he had.
Yeah.
How could I make such a wish?
I mean, we know this from our own experience. Sometimes we want something and then we get it, and then, I mean, even without Krishna, like I get a new phone and I really want to have this. I mean, phone samadhi. Even like I check all the internet sites and the catalogs, like the advertisements, and I read all about the phone and which camera it has and whatsoever. And 1-2 days I'm completely in phone samadhi. Dream about the phone, I wake up, think about the phone. Then you order the phone and you wait till it comes, vipralamba, separation. And then it comes and then the phone is here, and then you unpack it, you install everything, all the apps and everything, and after 2 days, just a phone like all the other phones. This is only on a material platform, and whatever we do, new car, new this, and it's always the same. Chewing the chewed, I say. Yeah. But yeah, at one point we realize, I mean, even on the platform, we mentioned Shudras, for example, in our ISKCON society, of course, we have also Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, everything. But actually, only the Brahmanas are supposed to follow the 4 regulative principles. I mean, Prabhupada gave us for everyone, but for Brahmanas it's more easy. But in Vedic times, Shudras, even Kshatriyas, they ate meat, they were gambling, yeah. And Shudras, they were allowed to go to bordels, like to have, get illicit sex. But then Prabhupada writes in one purport, the system was like that because the Shudras, at least, there was still a system, there was no, unwanted progeny, because they went to prostitutes. And the Shudra got purified after some time. He realized that doesn't give him pleasure. So in his next life, or even in the same life, he advanced a little bit. And then in the next life, he takes another birth, and slowly you come to a higher platform, to spiritual understanding. So even if there is material desires, we have to get through it. But what we have here in ISKCON is very high standard, actually. I mean, for regulative principle, it doesn't sound like much, but for the society outside, it's a lot. And it's very Brahminical standard. But this is what protects us also, to stay connected with the process of devotional service. Because otherwise you're not in Sattva Guna, otherwise Kali has you on your, can't say the words now, but otherwise, Kali has more influence over you. If you break the principles, because this is the places where Kali resides. So this is your saving grace in Kali Yuga. And if you're a devotee, you add Hare Krishna. You add devotional service. So Kali is still very strong, but if you practice sincerely, Krishna will help you. Doesn't look like that all the time, but whatever happens to a devotee, it's all Krishna's arrangement. Kali Yuga Ki Chai. Goda, Gauranga Mahaprabhu Ki Chai. Okay, thank you. Wish you a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Chai. Shri Dhruva Maharaj Ki Chai. Shri Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Chai. Shri Prabhupada Ki Chai. Vanga Prabhu Ki Chai.